All right, guys. All right, guys. Here we go with another live stream with me and Fit Dad Cris. Now, Fit Dad is busy right now. He'll be on a little bit later, but we wanted to go ahead and get this started for you guys. I appreciate anybody who's hopping on live and anybody who's coming in the playback. These are streams that we like to do together, going over what we feel are important topics or questions, and we do these every other week. And we flip flop on the channels in which we do them. So this week, here we go with my channel, and the question of the stream today is going to be can you out-train bad genetics? And I know that's a question I've asked myself, and I'm sure many others have asked themselves as well. It's a very good question, and it's a very loaded question because if it was as easy as just a black and white yes or no, I think this. Well, first of all, this would be a very short stream, so I can assure you it's not as easy as a black and white yes or no. But if it was that simple, I think the question would have already been answered definitively, and we wouldn't even be here today. So it's since it is a complicated question, I wanted to go ahead and start getting into it before Cris joined us. Looks like we have a couple of people that have joined the stream. I want to thank you guys for popping in. Looks like we have Princess Bella. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. We actually got started with her on our last stream. We had a topic, and we really kind of dug into her fitness journey, and we want to be able to continue a little bit with that today, Bella. So I assure you we're going to be able to get to that, but we're going to go over this question as well, because this question does actually pertain to you just the same. You got to know kind of how to manage your own fitness journey and know what you need to do whenever you're facing your own body as the hurdle, and genetics being that hurdle today. And then we got Blackbeard in the stream. I appreciate you showing up, man. I greatly appreciate you. You're almost always here supporting us. So I can't thank y'all enough. So the question, like I said, is can you out-train bad genetics? I want to ask, I guess as we get started in this, if you are live on the stream and in the chat, I want to ask you, have you run into genetics, genetic shortfalls in your training, health and fitness journey? Because I'd be curious to know if you've been doing it for a while. Did you really hit some roadblocks, some unexpected roadblocks as you kind of went through that journey? Let's see here. Let me look at the chat here. Spend years trying to out-train. So Blackbeard here says he spent years trying to out-train what my genetics dictated. Absolutely. I think we all have, if you've been in it for a while anyway. Been in it for a while. But yeah, definitely, man. Those genetics, they could be a beat down. But I do believe once we get through the end of the stream today, we're going to be able to answer that question as to how you can actually manage that, maybe work through it. I'm not going to say that, definitively yes or no, that you can out-train genetics right now. What we're going to do is cover all the information that I've uncovered in my research. And then hopefully by the end of the stream, once we lay it all out, we'll have a pretty decent answer to that question. So let me see. I changed. Bella on here, changing your name on us. Then we got Bad Mother Trucker on here. What's up, man? I'm definitely not going to show that. I'm not going to show that comment live, man. Come on, man. You gotta love Bad Mother Trucker, man. I've been been friends with him online here for quite a long time, so I appreciate you stopping by and supporting the channel, man. This is something I greatly appreciate, and it's something I've been working hard at for I'd say about 6 to 8 months now. I know it's not very long compared to many other YouTubers, but it is something that that I've been trying to dig into and trying to help folks with. Let's see. Blackbeard's got another comment here. I wanted a body that genetics played against. Yeah, I think we all want. I think we all want what we can't have, right? I think that's also something that we have to understand when we're talking about this whole genetic topic. So once we get into training and you realize you do have limitations, then you tend to want what you can't get, or tend to want what you don't have. So that's also something that whenever we go through this today, that we're going to have to train ourselves how to really think properly, so that when we're in the gym making the advancements that we work so hard for, we're not holding ourselves back just in our own head, because the mind plays a huge role in how successful we can be in the gym. The mind is extremely powerful, and if you underestimate that power, you will definitely see a major roadblock that you cannot overcome. Simply cannot overcome a bad mindset. Anybody who's been training for a long period of time, I can guarantee you would agree with that. Let's see here. Blackbeard's going off, man. Rather than work with it, I worked against it. Yeah, most definitely. There we go. Bad mother trucker in the house. Always show you love and support. Man, I know that, man. I appreciate you stopping through. Hopefully this is going to be helpful to you. Hopefully it's a good topic, something maybe that you even asked yourself. I know that, we tend to ask ourselves this question, the whole genetics question, the longer that we actually are in the fitness journey. I think even when you're in the beginning, you can ask yourself that question, but the advantage you have as the beginner is you haven't actually hit that roadblock yet. So I can set your mindset up. I can set your mindset up correctly so that when you reach it, you already expected it, and we can overcome it. So again, thanks, bad mother trucker, for stopping in today. Already. Yeah, definitely hit that like button, guys, if you're joining us on the live or in the playback. I greatly appreciate the support. So let's get into it, man. We're waiting on Fit Dad Cris here, but you know what? We're just gonna go ahead and dive in because you guys are here and we're ready to roll. Show's on. So the question, I'll repeat it again. Can you out-train bad genetics? That is such a loaded question. So I've got some notes here, so don't mind me kind of glancing at my notes back and forth, but I want to make sure I'm covering everything that's going to help us get through this together today. So, like any sport, some people are just naturally gifted. If you're just talking about from a sports perspective, some people are naturally gifted. You see it. Professional sports is a great indicator of that. You have your ranges as you go up through school, in college, and then you hit your elite levels or your Olympic levels when you're talking about amateur sports. So, like with any sport, some people are just more naturally gifted than others. It's not that they've been training hard. It's just that they have the genetics to do that specific sport very well. So people who aren't naturally gifted in something usually have to practice harder because they don't have the genetics like some of the other people do it may come more naturally. So understand what I said right there. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. People who aren't naturally gifted in something usually have to practice harder because they don't have the genetics to overcome naturally. So that's kind of a tease into saying maybe we can out-train genetics. I don't know, but we're talking about sports in this particular topic. So let me just slide it over to bodybuilding, or fitness is what we're talking about. So the very same thing is for bodybuilding and fitness. There are some people who could eat pizza and burgers all day, every day, and still seem to gain freaky mass and low body fat percentage. Now, I think we've all run into those people, or possibly have, and we hate them. And rightfully so. These people's genetics are insane. And that's when the genetics come into play. There are also some people who just remain skinny no matter what they eat. And that's highly frustrating for us men. Usually us men are the ones trying to get bigger. And the females on the flip side are the ones trying to get, lose weight and get smaller. So to us men, this is highly frustrating, to where you're one of those people who can just eat food, and not gain weight. But then it almost sounds like a humble brag, because then other people complain that you can eat whatever you want and you can't gain weight. So we're running into this dichotomy where you have the people who wish they could eat whatever they wanted and not gain weight. And then you have yourself, if you were one of those people, who eat like a horse but can't gain a single pound, and you're trying to gain. So it's wild. It's wild how that works out. But it just is what it is. Again, those are still genetics. So you have to learn how to overcome them either way. So as you might have heard, and I don't know, again, before I go into this, not everybody, I guess, buys into this notion. But whether you do or don't, we're going to kind of go over it today and kind of be that as it may, just land where you. I'm going to make sure to speak about not just this, but other ways we can attack the whole genetic question. So anyway, sorry. As you may have already heard, there are three classes of body types. Okay, you got the mesomorph, ectomorph, and endomorph. And so, in short, the ectomorph doesn't put on muscle very easily and fat, and therefore they're skinny. There's your skinny guys that can eat everything. The endomorph puts on fat easily, but also muscle as well. So the endomorph, uh, you can gain both fairly easily, but your downfall is that you gain fat very easily as well. So you have to pay very close attention to your diet because it could get out of control very, very quickly, and you can gain a lot of fat. Let me see. It looks like Chris popped in. I'm going to add him to the stream.
What up? What up? Can
What's
everybody
up,
hear
man?
me
What's up,
okay?
man? How you doing?
Man, I'm sorry about the delay. I had 1,000 things going on today. I sent you the picture of the crack in that wheel and everything, and I had to go. She went on lunch. I had to run to, like I said, that town that's like 20 minutes from here. I had to run there to the machine shop, pay the guy, get all that taken care of, and then rush it. She gets an hour lunch, but that's from the time she clocks out to the time she has to clock back in. So that's, subtract 15 minutes. So I had 45 minutes to drive, like 40 miles and make transactions with the tire shop and the machine shop. And just to make sure we don't have to drive on a donut all weekend and she don't have to drive to Paris to school on Monday morning on a donut. So, but I got it done. So
Got it done, man. Well, definitely glad to have you on. As you can tell, I've kind of gotten us started, but we have time. I'm not totally deep into it, but we have time to backtrack and just get on track, right back on track without wasting a lot of time. So the question of the day, me and Chris are diving into is: can you out-train bad genetics? Chris, I'm asking a lot of people in the live chat here today. I'm getting a lot of engagement, which is awesome. But you, do you have you asked yourself that very same question before?
Simple answer, yeah, of course. I have I've and I've believed both sides. There's been times that I believed you're just stuck where you're at, basically,
Mm-hmm.
genetically. I mean, you can train to a certain point, but really it comes down to what your ancestors were doing and their ancestors were doing. Like back in the
Right.
day when we were having to forage for hunting food and everything, everybody was super lean and cut and everything like that. And then the going on further back to when, like before the wheel, everybody was always having to carry really heavy things. So everybody, like the Spartans, that's why they all look like they're really strong. They look all shredded. I'm not sure how accurate it is as, the movie 300. I'm not sure how accurate that is, that
Sure.
portrayal. I'm not sure they would have that particular, physique, but it'd be
Sure.
something along those lines, lifting heavy things because we didn't have technology and things like that. But as I believe that the genetics come in to where, the further back you go into your ancestry, the less effective it is,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the lifestyle of the ancestry. The less far you go back. So, like, the farther you go back, say, like, you go back 10 generations, and these people, this family member, they were rich and they had stagnant lifestyle basically and had servants to do everything for them or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
then, say, 5 generations later, that family member they lost all their money, right? It didn't get passed down to the generations, and they lost all their money. He had to work hard. He had to do some hard labor that, like construction, things like that. And he decided he wanted to, I don't know, 5 generations ago, what kind of workouts were they doing? I've seen a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of buff dudes videos where they were doing a bunch of the old school
Yeah.
uh, lifting. But I'm just saying, I feel like when your genetics come in is the the further back, like say your great grandpa, say his dad was like ectomorphic. I see it like Greg Doucette explains it on a scale. Everybody's on a scale. It's not just simply you're an ectomorph or you're a
No.
mesomorph or you're an endomorph. I see it on a scale, as in everybody scores on that scale 1 through 10 for each of the somatotypes, right?
Right.
And I see you guys in the chat. I just wanted to say what's up. For some reason, when I'm on StreamYard, it doesn't let me comment. So I have to actually switch over to YouTube and like be watching the stream from my own account to be
I
able
see.
to chat. I don't know why it does that, but anyway, basically what I'm saying is that say your great grandpa, his dad was like an ectomorph, say. Like he scored
Mhm.
really high on the ectomorph scale, low on the mesomorph, and really low on the endomorph. And then he decided he's going to start training. And then he raised his son to start training, say bodybuilding. We'll say just whatever bodybuilding was 5 generations ago, build muscle, lifting heavy, whatever it is that you got to do to build muscle, basically. And they continued that throughout generation after generation. I feel like as they progressed through each generation, like I feel like those genes that like for every generation that comes, the genetics will be a little bit better, a little bit more mesomorphic, or a little bit more like say for instance, if somebody had more endomorphic tendency or endomorphic genetics, then they would kind of weed that more toward ectomorphic if people were eating healthy. I feel like there's so many factors that play into it, but I feel like you cannot change your genetics technically. You can't
Mhm.
really out train them short term, but I feel like you really can. I've got a buddy who's been training for 13 years now, I think, and he's like
Yeah.
35. And he was like skinny. He was like about almost as skinny as I was when I was all strung out on drugs and whatnot. So, and he's my height, 6'3", and he's sitting at 238 pounds right now. And I would estimate he's at like 17% body fat.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I feel like yes and no. So I feel like by me deciding to start training and building muscle and getting healthy, and I feel like that will improve my son's chances
Right.
of, getting more mesomorphic genetics. But as for short term, you got to work with what you got, basically. And you have to
Right.
work around what you have. That's just like what I'm thinking. I was listening in as I was prepping up. I was trying to get everything set up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe you were talking about the people, the ectomorphs, people who
Yeah.
score high, sorry, on the ectomorph scale, and they score low on the endo and probably pretty low on the meso.
Yeah.
They can eat, you said, they can eat whatever they want and they stay skinny.
Right.
And to an extent, that's true. Like for me, um, all through my 20s and especially my teen years, I mean, I would eat like crazy, and everybody, all my family, all my friends would just ask me where I'm putting it all. And I would just be like, I don't know. I'd be eating massive meals all the time. And it was just, I could never, it seemed like I just could never put on any weight. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, to an extent, that's true. But I feel like once you find your calorie maintenance and know how to accurately calculate your calories and calculate your energy intake, and if you do it correctly and check all the boxes, I feel like even if you're high on the ectomorph scale, you can still you can still increase your body weight. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
the law of thermodynamics. And
Yeah.
it has to be. What is that Simpsons clip I put in one of my shorts recently?
Yeah.
In this house, we abide by the law of thermodynamics or something.
Sure. Well, I mean, and so I can say that I can agree with you on most points, right? And so I wanted to go into our chat here. We've got some good comments. Blackbeard has one here that really stood out to me. Instead of training against the genetics themselves, work with them. He said, out on deployment, the bigger guys carried the bigger guns, whereas smaller dudes were for the speed. He's basically saying, know what you have and capitalize on that. That is just about some of the best advice that this entire stream is probably going to give, right? I mean, that's excellent advice. And that feeds into what Chris was really saying and what I was going to be saying. So it's like Blackbeard is on the same wavelength. The thing is genetics are what they are. And you can train through them, but you're not always going to get the exact result you may need or want. But you can definitely learn to capitalize on what you do have, because nobody's walking into any of this fitness journey and you just fall short on everything. Your genetics aren't tracked. Your genetics just may not allow you to get big calves or something. That's a big one that a lot of people struggle with, is the calf genetics.
Calves and
I can't grow my calves no matter how much I work them. So but you need to capitalize on what you can do well. And so Blackbeard, that's an excellent comment. I mean, that's about the best advice you can give right there. Is, of course, throughout this stream, we're going to be able to go over all the information of all the different body types and kind of how you can work and manage your fitness, your health and fitness journey, and your strength training to be able to overcome genetics to an extent, because I personally believe you can, to an extent, overcome the genetics, right? You have your gifted people, and then you have your people who have to just freaking work hard. And it's okay if you fall in the column that you just have to work hard. You just got to also realize you have to work 10 times harder to get the same result as the one that's gifted, who probably just cruised on through. That's the thing you have to really understand. Sorry about that book. No, Blackbeard says, sorry about that book. That wasn't no book, man. That's a good comment. And then Blackbeard also goes on to say, remember, the body does change. And it does. It does. Now it changes really all the time. I mean, as often as you can attack the body, it's going to change and adapt for you. You're not going to change the genetics, but your body will change. It doesn't ignore input. Body always, anything you put in, it will respond, and it will respond appropriately. So let's see. Blackbeard also said, I was a runner back in the day, but wanted size, failed a lot. Now it's opposite. Yeah.
Now you see who's here today, right?
Oh yeah, we got Bella in the chat.
Yep. I wanna know. Did you already ask her? Did I miss it at the beginning? Did you already ask her how things have been going? Because
I haven't checked in with her to see how things have been going. And what I did do is I went ahead and addressed and let her know that we were definitely going to be continuing that conversation and helping her take the next steps. So Bella, since you're on and Chris is on, might as well just fire us up, get in the chat, let us know how things have been going since we spoke last, and we want to be able to pick up and move you forward. That's what I would like to do. I know Chris feels the same.
Well, it's like you said. I mean, it's like we mentioned before. If you have consent from your parents and everything, and you feel comfortable, we could even bring you on to discuss it. I mean, I mean, it's up to Michael. It's his channel. He's the host today. So, I mean, we could wait until later on in the stream to give you time to prep, and that way we can cover our main topic for the day first, and then we could get into that. That way we could repurpose the content if you wanted us to and feature you in one of our videos.
Yep.
Or we could, just whatever you guys want to do. So,
yeah. But I want to thank everybody for joining us live. We've got quite a few people joining us live, and then I also want to thank everybody who's joining us on playback. I want to say that before we get too deep into this.
Absolutely, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up, guys, and hit that subscribe button. And I don't know if he linked my channel in the description or not. He usually does, but my channel is Fit Dad Cris, and I think there's like 3 of them, Fit Dad Cris, but mine's the only one without a H. My name's spelled Cris. So Fit Dad Cris. you'll see me doing this in the profile pic, and that'll be me. I've got like 2.25 on subs, 226 now, I think.
Cool.
Haven't had a lot of time to put into YouTube lately. I've been working on my latest project. I've actually got another channel, but I haven't touched it in so long. It's called Cris Flips, and that's where what I do for a living. One of the many things I do, actually. I mean, I run an eBay store. I also buy broken down vehicles, and I restore them and I sell them. So I'm hoping to get like a used GoPro or something, because I want to start making tutorial videos for that channel, because there's so many videos that I would look at for reference, and they're not even on YouTube. So I just think that's something I could actually, I feel like that channel would actually do better than my fitness channel, honestly, but
well, we'll see.
It's just an investment I have to make.
You never know. But so let's take us right back into where we were. So basically, I was going over the 3 body types. So Cris, right when you jumped in, that's really where I left off. So the thing is I'll repeat real quickly. So the ectomorph doesn't put on muscle very easily, or fat either. So they're the skinny guys, right? Endomorph puts on fat as well as muscle fairly easily. That's your endomorph, and we all know the pitfalls of that. You still have to deal with the fat retention. But then the one that everybody wishes they were is the mesomorph. Now, as Cris alluded to before, nobody is any one of these body types. There's certainly a scale. You can't point to anybody and just say you're one of 3 types, period, end of story. That's just the way it is. It's not the case.
You're not strictly one
scale. It's a sliding scale. So, however, as I was saying, since nobody is any one particular body type, there are so many mixes. So, for example, you can get a little bit of the mesomorph and the ectomorph put together. So you have to find out what kind of body type you are, and that's what I was talking about earlier before Cris had jumped on. Figure out what type of body type you are, so you know how to maximize your diet and training. And that goes to the point that Blackbeard said, of knowing who you are and play to those strengths. Don't work against the body, work with it. I mean, I know that you always want something you can't have or don't have, but it's okay to have those goals and try to overcome them. But also, you have to pay attention to your body and work with the strengths that you have. That's where you're going to get your victories. And so, unless you're a pure mesomorph with like godlike genetics, you'll have disadvantages stacked against you.
Ronnie Coleman.
Right.
He's like what? He scores an 11, like an 11 out of 10 on the meso scale, like maybe a 4.
Just a unit.
Yeah, he's like a 2 on the ectomorph scale, and probably like another 1 or a 2 on the. I mean, I think Ronnie actually he does score a little higher on the endomorph scale, but he was so disciplined in his training and diet, his energy intake. So I think he was actually. I mean, it wasn't nothing like a 9 or 10 or anything. I think he was like a 4 or 5. If I had to, I'm just estimating. But Ronnie Coleman is a prime example of a genetic phenomenon, basically.
It is.
But just, like I said, like I would give him an 11 out of 10 on the mesomorph scale, because that dude was just, he's still lifting. He's still lifting. He's not near, he's obviously not juicing nearly as much as he used to, but he was a behemoth. He'd be
you're always going to have those, but those are always outliers, right? Like we're talking about best of the best of the best, cream of the crop, cream of the cream of the crop. I mean, these are, Ronnie Coleman,
0.001%, literally.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring my dog in, and he's out there bothering the neighbors, so I'll be right back.
Yeah, man, go ahead. Let's see. Let me go through some of these comments. Let's see. Titus looks like in his MMA training. Let's see. Let's go through this. We say, be strong for you. Be able to move your own body effectively. You won't always be the biggest and strongest, but be strong and athletic for you, and use your skills to their full potential. Agreed. Agreed. You're never going to be the biggest, strongest, or fastest. There's always going to be someone bigger, stronger, or faster. Always. And I mean that quite literally. When you the day that the if you watch Strongman, the day that the strongman is crowned, the winner is crowned. The next day, someone is stronger. I can guarantee you. There's always someone out there working to be stronger and faster. So play to your skill set. Play to your advantages, right? And use and understand your body and use those tools to the best of their ability. And don't focus on the stuff that you really can't do anything about.
To touch on that real quick,
Yeah.
just a few examples of that. They had set the deadlift record. I think it was in Europe, somewhere in Europe, I think. And they said it was like 460 kilos, I believe. And they were like, nobody's ever going to break this,
Right.
And Eddie Hall came through and he was like, put 461 on.
Yep.
And then he pulled it. And the first time he pulled it in competition, they actually didn't give him the lift because he dropped it instead of like,
Yes.
placing. If you ever watch any of my deadlifts, I always kind of ease the bar back down. I don't just like slowly but I don't like just drop it out of my hand, like I can't stand people that do that in the gym, dude. It drives me nuts.
But the thing about Eddie is he got caught up in the moment. Like he was
he was
excited.
so hyped about
He
it,
was
man.
hyped up.
He
Now,
got it up and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I got it!" And he had beaten the world record, and then he took it. He was like, "Oh yeah, you think 461 something?" And then he was like, "I'm going to pull 500." He was like, and everybody's like, "That's impossible." And it almost killed him. Literally, his heart. He hit. I think as soon as he got backstage, he hit the floor, and his heart rate was up over 212 beats per minute or something insane. He was bleeding out the nose, of course, like crazy, and they said that he was either having heart palpitations or something. They didn't know if he was going to make it, but
he's pushing his body to an extreme limit. Now we're talking about the elite of elite. Again, you're talking about that 0.001%.
Right. I was just giving, example of there's always going to be, you set a record and you think, you're the best. Well, there's somebody's and as soon as Eddie set that 500 kilo record, then Thor came out and he was like, well, I'm going to pull what did he do? 501 or something.
Yep.
But
always somebody chasing it. That's our point is the body's always adapting. We're always getting stronger and faster. So you just got to focus on yourself. You're never going to be the strongest or the fastest. Be the best you that you can be.
Right. And the thing, now that they can do that genetic engineering and work with mRNA now, it's kind of wonder, it kind of makes you wonder, could you, maybe they do have it right now, but I'm thinking like down the road, could they be making, Captain America, like super soldiers, basically, because they'll be able to take out literally genetically engineer the embryo and to pick which genes to take out and to add to your DNA, so they'd be able to make like super babies basically. But that's crazy. I mean, it just makes you want, like, that's a whole nother realm of performance enhancing right there. Like
that's a whole other realm. That's a whole other realm. And so, not to get too deep into like the theoretical side of things and things like that, but me, I think that's too much playing God, man. I think you make too many mistakes when we manipulate genetics. So myself, I'd rather be next to the natural dude in war than Captain America who had their genetics modified, because something's going to glitch, man. He's going to whip my ass or something, But anyway, they are.
Well, that's already happening, as you can see with. Well, we'll not even get into that. I'm not going to get your channel shadow banned. But anyway.
Oh man,
Bella says she's still here watching. I think she stepped away for a second, but Bella, what we had mentioned is oh, she said sorry for changing my name. You don't have to apologize for changing your name. But she said that she was doing something, so I guess she stepped away for a second. But I was gonna just let her know. I was just gonna touch on what we had mentioned. We want to know your progress. We want to know, did you stick to the walking? How many sodas did you cut down on your sodas? Do you want to come on the show after we finish the topic for a few minutes and discuss it? And we can repurpose the live stream and feature you in one of our videos if your parents are okay with that. Because I know you're 14, 15. You're not, I mean, I know there's kids out there that have YouTube channels. I don't know what the rules are as far as parents and all that stuff, but we definitely don't want to get in any trouble with your parents. So please make sure it's okay with your parents before you just come on our show. But if you do feel comfortable doing that, we would welcome you. I mean, we're on Michael's channel. I mean, so it's up to him ultimately. But man, look how crispy this new phone is, man. 8K video. That is crispy as
it's sharp, man. It's sharp. But let's get back on topic, and then we're definitely going to get to Bella because we told her we would. So
right.
So I'm going to get back to what Blackbeard said. He said he was when he was deployed, he was able to train like crazy hard and kind of go against the genetics, right? But that lifestyle is unsustainable long term, and I agree. That's why as I was saying before, it's like you can always train through. You could train hard and train through the genetics, right? But it's a matter the genetics are going to play against you because if you can't sustain that type of training regimen, then that's when genetics have kicked in, right? That's when okay, I can't have this unless I go 110%. I can't be down here at 90 to 100%. I've got to be above 100%. I got to push through it. That's genetics talking to you. And that's when you're not naturally gifted in one way or the other. When you have to spend all your time dedicated to pushing through and getting the same result as somebody else who, just trains like regular and has a regular lifestyle, that's when your genetics have kicked in. But it's so true, and I can only imagine you guys in the military out there. When you're in your young 20s, young to mid 20s, man, y'all are out there just animals. And you can easily train through it, so you almost don't get a good, I guess, indication of what your genetics are because you're just freaks of nature at that age anyway. You could just train through anything, and then when you have to start slowing down, you start realizing what starts falling off and tapering off, and that's when you learn, there's my genetics talking to me. Yeah, Bella's still on. She's watching.
Yeah, Bella I guess she missed what I said again. Bella, you need to rewind 2 or 3 minutes and listen to what I said because I've said it twice.
I know.
But anyway,
we'll get to it though. We'll get to it.
Oh yeah, we will.
Let's see. Let's see here. So let me go over my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah. Again, we already went over the godlike genetics. We're talking about the 0.001% of the population, right. The Ronnie Colemans and whatnot. So nobody is any one of these three body types, and that was the point I was trying to get back to. So nobody's any one of these. It's just not. You are on a spectrum, right? There is a major variation between these three specific body types, and you lay in there somewhere. You have a piece. I think everybody, for the most part, probably has a little bit of piece of all of them, and they all kind of mix together.
Definitely.
You are what
everybody.
You are. So one thing you got to remember is that just because you're an ectomorph doesn't mean you'll never be muscular. That's the thing. And just because you're an endomorph doesn't mean you're always going to be a fat slob your whole life. That's just not how it adds up. What I'm saying is these are just what you're predisposition to kind of lean toward. Doesn't mean you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You just have to know how to work through them and work to your strengths. If you use an excuse like that, well, then of course you're definitely going to remain skinny or fat because excuses are going to kill you. Again, at the beginning of the stream, I said your mind plays a massive role in this. Your mind is way more powerful than you give it credit for most of the time, I assure you, because you can push through if you have the right mindset and attitude to get the job done. Because if you think about it, if you train hard and diet well, it's not possible that you won't gain anything unless you're one of those people who quit after a month or two, because they aren't seeing like these phenomenal results.
Well,
We're still
newbies, I
living with
mean,
physics.
yeah, well, not to cut you off, but a newbie, I mean, the first couple of months, they even somebody who scores high on the ecto scale, they should see some, newbie gains,
Oh
So,
yeah. Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
and if somebody's taken a long time off, and so even 5-10 years off, that
Yep.
muscle memory is still there. That it
It's still
never
there.
goes away. It never goes away.
100%.
So, the people that, and the whole reason that I took the entire month of January off of the gym, or not the entire reason, but the primary reason is I go to a public gym and I cannot stand January unless I go to the gym at midnight.
Hmm.
It's just slammed and people are just looking around. They're confused. They don't know what to do. And I'm not just a total jerk. I mean, a lot of people call me an a-hole, but I usually match people's energy. So if you come at me sideways, I'm going to double the sideways. I'm going to flip
I
it
got
right
you.
back on you and you're going to think I'm a jerk probably. But
Right.
I mean, usually I'm really, really peaceful, especially nowadays since I've cleaned up and I've been I went to anger management. I've been doing therapy, but that's besides the point. But the gym, in January is always filled. When we went over this in another stream, and you can go uh, to any of my latest content and the description. All of our shows are linked in my descriptions, like
Yep.
every single one of them. But
Yep.
anyway, you try to show them proper technique. Half of them are, because you can tell they're nervous. They're in a new place. They're uncomfortable, right? And I feel like 75-80% of them, that's why they leave, because they didn't have anybody there to make them feel comfortable, and that's why they quit. I don't think it's because they're not seeing results quick enough. There definitely are people that they think they're putting in the work when they're really not putting in enough work, and they're not seeing the results they expected because they see all these movie stars and stuff saying that, I did this, this, and this, and, I achieved this physique within 3 months. Well, what
Right.
they don't tell you is that half of them have been training their entire lives, and maybe for one movie role, they had to be fat or something, or they had to be skinny. So they lost a bunch of muscle mass, but they had muscle memory, and a lot of them are on gear as well. And so, yeah, they can throw 12 pounds of muscle back on within 3 months, like easily, and
Yeah.
stay cut because they've got muscle memory. They've got gear, trend, whatever they want to use. I'm sure they've got access to stuff that, normal, gym bros can't even get a hold of. So,
Of
I mean,
course.
there's all kinds of stuff that plays into that. But the people who come in and quit, you know, I don't feel like it's always lack of results. I feel like it's people making them feel uncomfortable. And the thing I wish I could tell every single beginner is people, you see the big, but I remember because when I first went in the gym, I was like seeing all these big buff dudes and I was intimidated, because I was skinny. I was so skinny. I mean, I'm still skinny, but hell, at least I'm 200 pounds now instead of 160, right? So,
Right.
but anyway, I was so intimidated, and I was like, I just knew everybody was looking at me like, why is he here? What is this guy doing here? And
Yeah.
it's so after being a vet, I wouldn't say a veteran, I guess. I mean, 3.5 years now, I guess,
Yeah.
and of going to the gym, it's exactly the opposite. They're like, man, look at this guy. They're making a change. Hell yeah. We want to see more of this. We want to
Yeah.
see more people making a change. But the thing about January that drives me nuts is I know no matter what, I try to help people. I try, I'll be like, hey, could I help you? Some of them get offended if you critique their form, because they think their little YouTube video, or I don't care who they're watching. Having somebody there to show you how to properly do the movement trumps any YouTube video. I mean, you can watch, you can watch on YouTube and get a decent idea, but to actually have somebody hold you, like say you're doing lat pull downs, and you can have somebody, guide your elbows and say, pull with your elbows, like keep your grip, but pull with your elbows. Don't pull with your arms. It's like John Meadows said, it's all elbows and angles when it comes to working back. Yeah. But anyway, I got a little off track, but I was just touching on, the people that, quit and how it makes me sad, man. And a lot of people are just lazy. And it's like the New Year's resolution thing we touched on. They think they're going to flip the switch and 5 days a week they're going to be going to the gym for an hour and a half, and all of a sudden everything's going to change. And when they need to incrementally make changes to achieve a lifetime of, a better lifestyle, basically.
Right. And so, no, it still feeds right into this topic today. The thing is mitigating expectations, understanding what the body is going to be capable of doing. And so if you're a beginner, though, you really don't have that knowledge, right? So, Chris, you've been at this for a few years. I've been at this for more than 20. I know what to expect out of my body. So I can, in some regards, I've got an advantage. You have an advantage, Chris, because you've already tested the body's limits, and you kind of go through and say, okay, I'm good at this and not so good at that. So what I'll do is I'll spend less time on the stuff that I'm gifted in, because I don't need to. And then I'm gonna just bury my time into the stuff that I struggle with. So, but the question comes is whenever you're a beginner, right? You don't have a clue what your limits are. And so that's where you come into the mental checklist, right? That's why I say the mental is just as important, really almost, if not more important, than really what your body physically puts out, because your mind carries you forward, not the body. The body goes where the mind wants it to, not the other way around. Trust me. I know that may sound very, hypothetical or like I'm preaching, but it's so true. The body follows where the mind goes. I assure you, people. I assure you. And
they
so
call it mind-muscle connection for a reason.
Yeah, man. I mean, so whenever you get into things like steroids, right? And so that's a big thing, really, with guys. Let's be honest. I mean, we know girls do compete and they'll take steroids, but really, it's guys. It's us who jack up on steroids. So we do it because really we're trying to go past our natural limit.
Right.
But we need to be, or I need to be clear, Chris, and I need to be clear on this today, is that you're trying to go above your physical limit. You're not trying to circumvent genetics. That's not going to change. Steroids will not fix genetics, guys, at all. You can have people jacked up on gear, more gear than Mr. Olympia takes, and still not look like Mr. Olympia. It will not circumvent gear. You gotta play to your strengths, no matter what you're doing, no matter how you're training, what you're training with, who you're training with. I don't care, guys. Genetics are real, and you're not going to beat them, but you can work with them. So I want to be able to, and I want to answer this question clearly today, and then we're going to move on to Bella. The thing is I don't want to say that you can't out-train genetics. That's not what I'm saying today, but I'm also not saying cut and dry. You can absolutely out-train genetics. It lies somewhere in the middle, and really where you make up that ground is where you know what your strengths and weaknesses are. So one of the most important things into overcoming, in a sense, the genetic disadvantages is actually consistency. And Chris knows I preach this all the time. Chris preaches it on his own channel, but I say it all the time. Consistency is undefeated. It's undefeated. And so that is about the only way you're going to overcome, in a sense, your genetic shortfalls, is by sticking to something over a long period of time, which doesn't mean on or off every few months. It doesn't work like that. It's got to be something consistent, because genetics are a real thing, and there's no hack. There's no body hack. You're never going to hack the body. It's not going to happen. You have to work with it in harmony, or you will fail. But I want to get everybody's mind right so you can approach your fitness and health and fitness lifestyle and approach your strength training appropriately, so we know how to get you through it and get the maximum results and everybody's happy. And if your end result is to be, I want to be Mr. Olympia, fine. Chris, I think you would agree. Fine. We could try to help train you up and get you there. But we also need to be very, very clear and aware that as we start training very, very, very hard and getting to that place, you got to know when it's not happening. You have to know when your genetics are simply saying no, and then you have to change your whole mindset, or you're going to end up quitting. That's just simply what's going to happen. And I've done it to myself. I'm just speaking from experience, where I try to push through and I try to make something happen, and when it doesn't, I really sabotage myself, because it messes me so badly. It messes me up so badly mentally that I quit completely, and I end up taking a break that I should have never taken, because I didn't set myself up for success from step one. So anyway, Chris, I mean, that was my ramble. That was my, making sure everybody got the answer to the question today.
Well, yeah, I actually wanted to add to that. I'm actually I'm searching. I thought it was on my computer, but I guess it's not. But I had pictures, because you were talking about, somebody can take, because see, Mr. Olympia, the current Mr. Olympia, I mean, unless there's been one in the past couple months that I didn't know about, because I don't really keep up with when they are, but to my knowledge, it's Chris Bumstead.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he is well known for taking very small doses of whatever he takes. Whatever he's taking, he always takes a small dose.
Right.
And I just wanted to touch on that, because a lot of the people watching already know, I've done several anabolics. I tried Tren. I did Tren. I've tried Deca, and all in the hopes, like you said, especially when I first started them, I was like, man, I'm gonna, get huge. I was like, because I was just all hyped up, and even watching Coach Greg, and another thing that you were talking about, about goals, is something Coach Greg says all the time that I absolutely love it. And it is so true. It's look at your dream physique and aim to get halfway there. And that is exactly what you need to do. But I was actually, I'm 6'3", about 200 pounds. And when I got on Tren, I was running 300 milligrams, which is actually that's a decent dose. Okay, that's when Chris Bumstead, that's like basically what Chris Bumstead would run if he was running Tren, like, because his diet and training are so on point, because that's all he has to do is diet and training. Like, he doesn't have a job; he has to go work every day and everything like that. I actually lost 2 pounds when I added Tren and I run low doses of everything, but I was running Tren, Masterone, and testosterone. And basically my test base is always just enough to keep everything in balance as far as my other hormones. But I was going to do a screen share real fast, and I couldn't find the actual picture that I wanted to. Damn it, how do I go back? Hold on. But yeah, when I got on Tren, I was like, all right, I'm, because I'd already done tests. I thought, all right, here we go. When I get on Tren, I'm gonna get massive, and I actually lost 2 pounds. Now my body composition changed. I would say that my body fat percentage went from probably 16-17% down to 12.
Okay.
So I can't find the picture. It's not letting me. I'm using my phone as my webcam, so it's not
Yeah.
allowing me to access the pictures in my phone. But I do have some pictures just for comparison to show
Yeah.
you guys that it doesn't matter. My sources are all very legit. They've been tested. Backed by tens of thousands of reviews. They got their own Facebook group where everybody can talk about everything. Anyway, I'm just going to give you guys an example. This is not when I was on trend. This is when I was running like maybe 300 milligrams of test on top of like 450 masterone a week. But I'm going to hit share screen. And I'm just going to share this single window. And so, okay, so you guys should be able to see that. So see, I'm not massive. And I mean, I was eating, I believe I was eating at maintenance at this point. So, you guys aren't able to see it, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, you can? Because on my end, it's not showing. Oh, okay. Now I see it. Yeah. But anyway, that was like the one picture I could find. I think, see, this is what I was telling you. You see my damn traps, they way outdo my delts. And the one thing, when I was hoping I could find the picture of when I was on trend, because when I was on trend, my delts finally filled out, and they were like, I mean, they weren't, bowling ball, but they were freaking, I mean, they filled out. And I was like, man, that's so awesome. But the thing about trend is you cannot run it very long. I was 5 weeks in and I was losing my mind. My fiance said if I ever touched it again, she's going to leave me. So, yeah,
Well,
I've experimented with those, and it doesn't matter. It does not matter how much gear you do. There's dudes out there pumping 5 grams of test a week, literally, not milligrams. We're talking five grams. So one vial is usually around 2,500 milligrams. One vial for me lasts me between 2 and 3 months. They're doing 2 complete vials a week, these guys, and they look all bloated, like their faces are all waterlogged, and they're having to take all these aromatase inhibitors. And when they use aromatase inhibitors, another reason I use really low doses so I don't have to use aromatase inhibitors is because it's very liver toxic and bad for your kidneys. Especially like aromatase inhibitors are better than there's another one that, rather than preventing the aromatization of testosterone into estrogen, it actually just directly kills the estrogen.
right.
And that's
Well,
actually more toxic. But any kind of aromatase inhibitor is going to be toxic, more liver toxic. And
so
the
yes,
way I
yes.
see it,
So
doing
here's
all
the
the
thing.
drugs and alcohol I did, I don't need to,
So,
put my liver through any more thing than I already have. But
so
I was just going to touch on, what you said about gear.
yeah,
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. It
It doesn't
doesn't matter.
matter. You can take, because even Mr. Olympia, like I said, he's probably running, maybe when he's prepping for a show, he'll jump up to maybe 400 to 500 milligrams of test a week, and he'll probably toss in something else. But that's
So
it.
I think ultimately, and now Chris just took y'all through an education, guys. I think you just blew everybody's mind, Chris. So when it comes to gear, clearly he has more experience than I do by far and more knowledge than I do.
Well, I
But
researched
ultimately,
it for an entire year before I ever touched it. So, I mean,
so
I don't mean watching YouTube videos either. I mean
no,
reading and reading and reading. Like, yeah, and
So
asking,
here's the thing. Here's
yeah,
the thing. Since we all agree that gear is not going to overcome the genetics, I think that was the key thing. And thing is, whenever you're passionate about something, you can go off on tangents. And I mean, Chris knows a lot about this stuff, guys. And so if there's ever an opportunity for us to have an entire show just kind of going over gear itself, that'd be the place to definitely go over all these details. But for right here and today, I mean, the thing is the point of the matter is that gear, no matter what, is not going to overcome genetics. It's not. There's no magic pill. Genetics will always put the brakes on whatever you think you may want or need, right? So that's why, again, I'm taking it all the way back, and this is all about what's in the mind, right? You have to know how to properly set goals and know what you can actually achieve. Listen to your body. Don't fight and work against it, because you're always going to lose. And then what that does to you mentally is breaks you down. And then what that does to you physically is you quit and you give up and you go into to being broken down and out of shape and sick and unhealthy. That's just it's fact of the matter. You hate it or love it. I mean, that's ultimately what's going to happen. That's the full circle. So it's about setting proper goals, knowing what your body can do in the onset when you're brand new, like Bella, who's in the stream. When you're brand new, what you do is you're just trying to push through everything and throw everything you can at the body and see how it's responding. And as you get years into your training and your health and fitness, then you start learning how the body's responding to each one of these different things. And so you know then how to set those proper goals. So like Blackbeard said here in his comment, he said, it doesn't matter how much you want to move a mountain, it's just not going to happen. Physics won't
right.
allow it. Same thing. Genetics is not going to allow it. You're not going to beat them. Period. End of story. But you absolutely can train through them. I want y'all to
Right.
understand that, guys. This is not a yes or no question today. This is kind of somewhat gray area in the middle. But what you need to take away is that genetics they will not stand in your way. You'll just have to work really freaking hard to work through them and
Right.
understand where where the road really truly ends. And you'll find out when you try to work through the genetics. You'll find out. The body don't
John
lie.
John Meadows actually has a video on how to determine what your genetics are. Um,
I don't
basically, in
know
a
if you can actually do
nutshell,
that or not.
do what?
I don't know if you can actually do that or not. I mean, I don't know
No,
I've
I
never
mean,
heard anything like that where you can actually identify
no,
genetics.
I don't. I mean, just to uh, what's the name of it? I think the name of the video is like either do I have good genetics or how to know if you have good genetics.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, and in a nutshell, he just covers one of the things you already mentioned. Calves, the size of your wrist. See, I've got smallish wrist. My wrist, so that means my forearms. I can hardly get my forearms to grow. My dad, he was in the military. He trained, and he was like, he said he was never able to build his biceps, very well. So I mean, I also have, even when I was on trend, I will say, and just, I didn't mean to go on a tangent. I was just trying to explain, like, trend is what they call the king of the basically the king of all anabolics. It's
Right.
supposed to be the one that gets the job done. Like, if
Sure.
anything's going to do it, that's going to do it, and it's going to do
Sure.
it quickly. But anyway, so that's the reason I brought up the trend, and as I was trying to explain is, even though I was on trend, I still didn't become Mr. Olympia.
No.
It takes, I mean, and going back just to kind of finish wrapping up
Yeah.
on ancestry. So, if your ancestors spent their life working their ass off, like working the farm, doing heavy lifting and stuff, I feel like that generational, I don't feel like you're just stuck with those genetics, and of course it mattered because you got two parents. So maybe one parent worked, has got really mesomorphic genetics, and small or low on the ecto, low on the endo, and high on the meso. Most people that are high on the meso, on the average, also are kind of high on endo as well. Not nearly as high, but usually it's like between 4 and 6 on the endo scale. Most people that's just from my research, that's just what I've come to determine, that they and then you've also got the mesos that score high, not like super high, because it's really hard to decipher between ecto and meso and how they mesh together. So say you score 10 on ecto and 10 on meso. Well, is that perfect genetic? Is that what's his name? Tristan Lee. He walks around like just all the time. He's like 6% or 5% body fat or something. You know the kid I'm talking about?
I do, and that's absolutely has a lot to do with also his age. Let's be honest. When you're that age, anybody can walk around cut, jacked, and everything. If someone were able to train me at his age, right, like in my teenage years, train me like a professional, everybody be walking around chiseled and jacked. You just simply don't, put on fat, and you shred fat so much easier at such a young age. I mean, but clearly, genetically, yes, he must be predispositioned because he's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he really, and he's strong. He's strong for
Yeah.
his size. He is incredibly strong. I was really impressed.
Yeah.
My goal physique is like, it used to be, like Thor Ragnarok,
Hmm.
that scene where he's like where he's picking up the hammer and he's all like, I don't remember. It's like one of the posters, I think, of that movie. But anyway, now it is Bradley Martin. Bradley Martin started training when he was 19, and he was like, he's my exact height as well. Oh, you muted me. Okay. You wanted me to shut up? I got you. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm clicking buttons, man.
But no, Bradley Martin, he uses a lot more gear than I'm ever going to use. So it's like Coach Greg said. Look, he's like 260 pounds. I mean, he is crazy strong. I mean, but he uses. I mean, he's definitely pumping some juice, right? Way more than I'm ever going to do. I mean,
Right.
yeah, I experimented with Trent. I straight up told my fiance I'm open with her about it, everything. So I was, I told her, I was like, look, I'm just going to try it. I was like, I'm just going to see what it does. Cause I've used testosterone, and if you guys want to learn about, more about anabolics, I've got videos on my experiences with them on my channel. Yeah. I would refer you to Ryan Ankrum. I would refer you to Greg Doucette. His older videos used to own. I mean, most of his older videos are all covering gear. Yeah. And there was one more, but I can't remember. But anyway, Bella says, "Sorry, I didn't know what happened." Well, Bella, we were gonna talk to you about your progress. So, how are things going since we saw you 2 weeks ago?
I want to get an update, kind of see if we can keep moving you through this. I mean, I think it's pretty awesome that you're wanting to start something. I wish a whole lot more people had that attitude, and I think it's pretty inspirational. The thing is at such a young age to be really kind of be that self-aware, understand that right now you're putting the building blocks together, the foundation of what you're going to carry through the rest of your life. So although I'm always going to tell people it's never too late to start, I will also in that same breath say, if you wait too terribly long, you're fighting a pretty strong battle to try to get back in the health that you really sabotaged throughout your entire life. But it's never too late to start. But anyhow, Bella, we want to know kind of where you stand, what you did this, over these last couple of weeks when we left you, and to kind of see what we can do to take you to the next step. And those of you who are still on the stream, just to catch y'all up, basically we're going through this, and we were going over like a health and fitness starting with Bella here today, and she's starting that journey, wanting to get healthier, lose some weight, and those do go hand in hand, no matter what the woke crowd may tell you. Um, Obesity does kill, and so we're trying to make sure that between Chris and I, we're always trying to make sure that that's not happening, at least to our community. We want to help everybody we can. So Bella, tell us what you've done. I know that last week we were talking about calories in and out. We were talking about starting an exercise regimen slowly, doing a little bit and then building on top of it. Don't try to just flip the on switch like we said in previous streams, where you can't just turn it on and be an animal 5-6 days a week. You really want to kind of make this a lifestyle. Don't make it a diet. Don't make it a something hardcore in the gym for like a month. You think you're going to get all your results and then you can coast. It just doesn't work like that. So
yeah, crash dieting for most people usually ends in them either because they get so hungry that they give up and then they quit altogether, and then they'll usually end up binge eating and getting even bigger than they were when they started. That's 100%. Why I'm strongly against crash dieting. I would never recommend fasting. She's been drinking a lot of water every day. Okay. All right, Bella. So I'm assuming since you've been drinking a lot of water, that is excellent to hear. I'm really, really happy to hear that. Everybody needs to drink. I recommend an ounce of water for every pound of body weight that you have. But besides that, did you want to see if she wanted to come on?
She can if she'd like.
So we want to make sure, Bella, that first of all, your parents would be okay with you coming on a YouTube show. I know there's a lot of kids that have their own YouTube channels, but I don't want to get in any trouble with your parents, and neither does Michael. We just know that I think you're 15, and just want to make sure that your parents are okay with it. First of all, if you want to come on the show, if you're comfortable with coming on, that way we could just discuss it and, kind of talk you through, and if you're not comfortable with it, that's fine. We can work through the chat. But yes, drinking plenty of water, that will help you out tremendously.
So she cut out her sodas is basically what she's saying. I remember that was the big deal for her.
So that's what I'm really wanting. So she has been drinking a lot of water, but did she cut them all out at once?
Man, if she went all, balls to the wall, that'd be awesome.
Cold turkey, yeah. I mean, it's tough, but if she's got that kind of dedication, her parents won't let her do it. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So you have cut out sodas completely, or are you still drinking one here and there? Are you either way, drinking plenty of water is excellent, because when you're drinking, my mom, she was overweight and she drank Coca-Cola like crazy. And my grandma, who is a very intellectual person, she's one of the most, brilliant people I've ever met in my life. She is convinced that the Coca-Cola is what killed my mom. For those of you who don't know, my mom never touched a cigarette in her life. She never did any drugs. She would have a margarita on her birthday, and that was it. And at 39 years, she was overweight. Notice I say overweight. She was not obese. And she was active, though, so she did do a lot of moving around. But she was 39, and we never knew anything was coming or anything. And she had an aneurysm in her brain that ruptured, and she died instantly, just gone. And we just never, So, yes, I have stopped drinking soda. That is excellent to hear, because where I was going with that is the more soda, what those sodas do is they build up, especially if you're not drinking any water. All those toxins just get built up in your kidneys and your liver, and you don't have any water, coming through to help flush that out. And it is very detrimental to your overall health. So I'm assuming that, I mean, you might, depending on how long it's been since you dropped the sodas. I'm sorry. You might be having caffeine withdrawals. You might have switched to coffee or something. I mean, I drink coffee. Michael here, he's very against caffeine, period, which is totally understandable. I agree with him. We all have our vices, right?
Yep.
But anyway, you might be experiencing caffeine withdrawals if you just dropped all caffeine cold turkey, but just stick it out. I promise you, it'll pass. Caffeine withdrawals, they usually don't last very long. They say the two hardest habits to break are cigarettes and heroin. And then you got, I guess, alcohol would be next. And then way down, like 20 tiers down below that, I would put caffeine. So, yeah, I know caffeine withdrawals, you'll probably feel fatigued. But supplementing that with a lot of water after, your body's not craving that caffeine so much anymore, you're going to start feeling a lot better. So have you been doing I know you were actually in the process of being on a walking trail last time you were here. So how has that been going? Have you
That would be a good follow-up. So we've got, she's, taken out the sodas or at least cut them back, drinking a lot of water. So now I want to know what sort of exercise that you've put into it. So, because as I always say, and Chris and I both say, it's diet and exercise that create a good, healthy lifestyle. So what have you been doing? Are you able to kind of fold something in to where it's manageable and sustainable, and then we can grow on top of that? I'd like to kind of know, what you did. I think last week she was already out on the walking trails. I think that's what Chris had just already said. Already out on the walking trails during the stream. So we were excited to hear that. I want to know, did that continue through? Did that energy and mindset continue through and take you through these next couple of weeks? And were you able to progress on your exercise portion?
While we're waiting on her to answer, see, anything that when you're sitting on the couch, assuming that your heart is healthy, your heart rate's probably sitting at what, 60s, maybe even as low as I know when you sleep. I think when I was sleeping, when I had before my little Fitbit broke, it was showing that my heart rate would get down to like in the 4. And it would be like, if I was just chilling, sitting somewhere, it'd be like 60. So I had a really healthy resting heart rate is what my doctor said. But if you can get your heart rate up, start by walking, like we said. And I mean, eventually we want you to get into jogging or get a bicycle or do something like that. Get that heart rate up, because the heart is the most important muscle. I mean, you can't see it, but you can feel it. A healthy heart. And the more, I mean, you've been drinking a lot of water and you've stopped drinking sodas. So that's going to help your blood pressure. And I mean, immediately, because all those toxins, the sugar that saturated fats, everything that's in those sodas, they build up in your arteries and they increase your blood pressure. So drinking water and walking on top of that. And I mean, Michael here, he'll tell you, he knows more about it than I do because he's a cardiovascular specialist. But getting your heart rate up and drinking plenty of water on top of that is going to help get any kind of buildup out of your arteries. It's going to help clear your arteries out. And then, so yeah, I was just wondering, definitely not expecting you to just go run a 5K or anything starting off, but, maybe walk a mile or something. Maybe walk, a mile sounds like a long time. But I mean, I'm definitely no marathon runner or anything. I usually run a mile in like 8 or 9 minutes, which is not impressive at all. I think there's dudes out there doing like 4 or 5 minute miles now, like crazy. I mean,
Oh yeah.
what are they running, like 15 miles an hour? It's ridiculous. I mean, I could understand like a sprint. I think my top sprint was like 14.5 or something, which is not, and that's not, crazy. I think, what's the record for dude ran like 20 miles an hour or something?
For
But
Usain
to
Bolt or
keep that
something?
up at a pace is just beyond me. Do we still got her? You still here,
Probably so.
Bella?
Hopefully so. So here's the thing. So we're coming towards the end of this anyway. This is me and Chris. We want to be able to check in. So Bella, whether you're watching this live, you're still with us, or you can catch it on the playback. I still want this to be a good check-in for you. So the question is, were you able to sustain some sort of an exercise regimen over the last couple of weeks, something that you could actually continue to work through? And it looks like she just answered. So the answer is yes. So she was able to get something sustainable. So the next step, unless Chris disagrees, is to simply continue. The thing is this is not complicated, and I'm not gonna make it complicated for you. This is very simple. It's for you to continue, and what we want to do is to continue at this level, and then your body will naturally progress, and then this level will get boring for you. That's what I want to hear. I want to end up, a couple of weeks or a month down the line. I want to hear that, yeah, you've been doing it. And, what else, guys? What else can you tell me? I want you to challenge us then to take you to the next step. Thing is we got to get you through step one first. So what I want to know is are you capable of maintaining the exercise regimen that you put in place over the last couple of weeks? I want to also know how well you continue to cut out those sodas and drink a whole lot of water. That can be a sneaky little challenge. I think when it comes to like a soda addiction like that, it's a sugar addiction, which is extreme. It's very real. It's no different than any other addiction. The scary part about those is that relapses can occur, just the same as a relapse of any drug addiction. Sugar becomes a drug to the body chemically. It becomes dependent, and you have withdrawals. Same with caffeine. You have withdrawals, and the body hurts. It craves it. And then whenever you take it away after you've given it for so long, it hurts. So what I want to do is I want to continue to be checking in like this and just simply get a pulse of where you're standing. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to check in again. And what I want to hear is that you're starting to like how things are changing in the mirror. I've told you to stay away from the scale, and I still maintain that. Who gives a crap about what that number says on the scale? I want you to start looking at yourself in the mirror and then seeing how your body is looking. And then really what that does is it reinforces the mind and reinforces the mental. Like, you're working hard, you expect to see a change, you will see the change, and you'll be happy about it. And that'll motivate you to continue, because the scale will jack with you. One day you could have drank a whole big bunch of water before you stepped on the scale, and you feel like you might have gained weight because that water you just swallowed weighs something. Physics is
Yep.
real. So I don't want the scale. What I want is the mirror. And so we want to continue to check in. When we're ready to take the next step, we will. But Bella, I believe with your age, and then if you continue this drive, Chris, unless you disagree, I think within a month, we'll be taking the next step and ramping this up for you. And you'll see some significant progress. Absolutely, we'll see significant progress. I know that I could put people through the very same workouts and health and fitness type of stuff with my friends that I've worked out with for years and given advice to for years, and other people that I've trained that were strangers before I met them. And this process that I and Chris will take you through is absolutely going to work because we don't complicate things. This isn't one of those hype YouTube channels or something. We're not going to complicate things. We're not going to sell you some BS supplements that are full of crap. The health and fitness stuff is very freaking simple, guys. There are no hacks. The body is very simple. What you put in, you will get out. I assure you, if you just do something consistently, the body responds without fail. Without fail. Chris, what do you got, man?
Yep, I was just gonna finish up by saying, it's like you said, about Tristan Lee. You know, he's young. So I mean, Bella, with you being young like you are, you know, just like Michael said, be very leery of um what you know backslide. Don't. I mean, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up if you thought you know if you give in and drink one soda. Just don't let it become a habit again. You know, just
Right.
you know, every now and then, you know, reward yourself by all means. You know, you hear bodybuilders and all fitness connoisseurs talk about cheat days. I don't really do cheat days. I just kind of eat like, you know, I just kind of eat whatever I enjoy wholesome meals most of the time. I'm not really big on like desserts and stuff. So I mean, every now and then I might eat some I don't know, like some French toast sticks or something like that. But other than that, just steadily. So you said you've continued walking. I would say just steadily increase the amount, the distance that you're going, and don't push yourself too hard. But do push yourself a little further than you did. You know, not. I mean, you don't even have to increase it every day,
No.
but maybe you know every third walk increase it. I don't know how you're measuring your distance, if you're measuring it by steps or if you're measuring it by the mile, or I don't know how you're measuring it, but you want to just incrementally increase the distance that you're going. Maybe if you can get up to a light jog for part of it. I mean, don't feel pressure to do that by any means, but if you can, I'm just saying, just don't push yourself too hard, but steadily increase, you know, what you're doing. And if you're already completely done with the sodas and you're just drinking water and maybe, you know, sweet tea is really dangerous as well. It doesn't have nearly as much caffeine. It does have a little caffeine in it, but it's got a lot of sugar. So, what my fiance does is she'll do like half and half tea and maybe throw some lemon in it. I don't know, you know, what your other drink preferences are, but just keep in mind because, see, what I wanted to say is you said you were drinking several sodas a day, and we were what did we guesstimate that you know 3 or 4 canned cokes a day is something like 600 or 700 calories. So by you cutting your sodas out, you've already dropped almost you know at least 500 calories a day out of
Oh
your
yeah.
diet.
Easy.
So
Easy.
you know, and keep in mind that another reason not to pay attention to the scale is some days we eat more carbs than others, and
Yeah.
carbs make your body hold more water.
Yeah.
And you just don't worry about the scale. But I promise you, simply kicking those sodas and drinking more water, going for walks, within weeks, you're going to start noticing a difference. You're going
Yeah.
to start noticing a difference. And especially within, I would say, 6 weeks, you know, at the most, if you stay consistent, like Michael says, you will start to feel better. You'll start to have more natural energy. You'll have more natural endorphins. You'll feel mentally happier.
Yeah.
It snowballs. It has a snowball effect. Once you start and you start to feel that improvement in your you know your mental health, your physical health, it makes you want more. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's how it was for me. It's how it has been for so many people that I've talked to. And I think that, you know, I really think that if you just stick to it and don't push yourself too hard. I just put the link to my channel in the chat for anybody that anybody that's still here that was wanting to view any of my videos. And like I said, the descriptions of especially the most previous content will have all of our previous shows in there as well.
Yeah.
And Bella, if you're interested in, if you think I was thinking we should wait until let you just kind of consistently keep doing what you're doing until our next stream, which will be 2 weeks from today, which will be that one will be on my channel, which I just linked. And is it linked in the description yet, or
not yet? I'm definitely going to get it linked.
Okay. If you want, I could just leave a comment or something, or you could pin a comment after the stream's over. But either way, the stream will be 2 weeks from today. Calendar. So that will be calendar. Thank you. So 2 weeks from today will be the 11th. The 11th of March. We will be going live probably around the same time.
Yeah.
If that's cool with Michael. And we're 90 minutes in. So yeah, Bella, just stick to it. We're really proud of you, and just stick to it. And like I said, just incrementally. Don't try to do everything all at once, because it makes it so hard on you mentally that you're a lot more likely to give in. I'm not saying it's impossible to, change everything at once. I mean, I would say maybe 2 out of 50 people, will actually be able to sustain that. But they have extreme discipline. It's just not, I couldn't do it. There's no way. I had to very slowly and incrementally make changes, small changes over time, and they built up to where I'm, happier and healthier than I've ever been. And I'm 30 years old now. But anyway, wrapping up, I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Truth Under Tension. That's Michael's channel. Don't forget to go to my channel. I put it in the chat, but I don't think it's a clickable link. But there will be either a pinned comment, or it will be in the description after the stream. And I appreciate you guys, and I will leave it back to Michael.
All right, man. Hey, thank you guys for showing up. We're definitely very, very appreciative of your time today. So hopefully all this was very, very beneficial to everybody, including Bella and everybody else on the stream. And we went over the first topic as well. So we got 2 topics in one day, hour and a half. So I think that was a good stream. So hopefully between those 2 topics, it's going to be helpful to somebody today, whether it was live or playback. So looking forward to the next stream in a couple of weeks, guys. You guys make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so we're not missing any more of that content. Y'all have a good one. Talk to y'all soon.